Well, welcome, guys. This is, man, I haven't done a podcast in maybe 5 years, but that long, man. It's called the Maven Mind. So, and I was telling right now, I was looking it up. You know, the reason why I came up with Maven was it's an expert or connoisseur. That's the definition. So, I started this in Houston. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my goal is to get entrepreneurs or people that are doing something with their lives, you know what I mean, and get their background, their story, what you did that got you to where you're at. And I know you're going places, man, you know what I mean. So just relax, you know what I mean. Just because something that usually I have a script, but I think now it's just better to just kind of just talk, man. If not, I'm gonna be too focused, man. Yeah, I'm gonna be all over, and it's gonna go too quick, man. But no, it's been a while since I've been doing one. So, but since I moved to San Antonio, you know, I've been hearing about you and you know what you're doing, and you know you're coming up. Can you hear yourself on that one?
Yeah, I can say it. Yeah, we're
okay.
good.
You sound good?
All good. Yeah, everything's all good. Yeah.
But my main thing, man, is you know, I want to know, or I want the people to know, you know, what you went through, you know, where you started, your story, like just let people know about who you are, you know, inspire them, you know, what you went through, like training, how you surpassed when you might have quit somewhere, you know, and who pushed you. So let's hear your story of how you started, man.
Okay. I mean, all of this boxing career all started back in like 1970s. With my dad and my uncle. They kind of opened up the gates for Latino men in San Antonio to fight, because they would fight like it's just a normal thing. People who were in the boxing.
So your dad had like a name here and everything?
Yes, my dad did have a name. He worked his way. He had a lot of fights as an amateur. Over 100 fights. And
did he go like worldwide or anything, or just?
He was internationally. I mean, because even at that, he was like an outstanding amateur. He had like over 100 fights, and he only lost, I want to say, maybe 3 times. And so everybody, like nowadays, who is now a coach, whenever we go to like a boxing events, everybody has something good to say about, man, dude, your dad was a legend, man. He was like this and that. So it was really cool just to hear that growing up. So my dad made his mark back in the day, in the early, I'm saying in like 60s, 70s.
I remember you telling me back when.
Yeah. And so around the 70s, 71 is when he won the National Golden Gloves.
And where was he from? Where did he come from?
My dad's from
He was born here?
Born here, yeah. San Antonio.
But y'all are originally family Mexico?
So my dad's family my dad's family is from Mexico. Or like, I want to say a lot of their roots is from all over, because my dad didn't really know his father too well. He knew well. He was good with him, but his dad was out doing his own thing. Like, I couldn't really say too much about him because I didn't even know him myself. Mm-hmm. But my grandmother, which was which was Patsy Moreno, she was the one who raised all. It was like 7 brothers and 9. Like there was a whole bunch of them, just kind of all raised together. And so my grandma used to kind of try to keep them off the street, but then she was working 2 jobs and providing for all my uncles, including my aunt. And so the best thing for them was to do boxing, because they were always just fighters, you know, just fight. So boxing was something that kept them together. They used to dig like holes and put poles in the mud to make a ring, and then they would use a water hose as a rope, and then they would fight in the backyard, man. So they would just do it like that. Yeah. And so even my aunt would get involved with that and box with the boys and stuff. Yeah. So they all knew if you mess with one brother, you're gonna get the rest of them all coming at you. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how that went down with them, and so they just stayed in the boxing community, and that's how it would go. And so whenever they weren't in school, they were doing boxing activities. So
what, your dad, you know a lot about your dad's past and everything, right?
I do know a lot.
He started breaking out when, like, breaking into the scene in his name where...
So with the amateurs, it wasn't the amateur boxing has always been big in San Antonio, Texas. It's always been a big thing. Mm-hmm. So as an amateur, they didn't really have a lot of events like that the way we do now, because now they have international tournaments for amateur fighters, and you earn your way through the regional Golden Gloves. You go to state, then you fight nationals.
More accessible.
And so, yeah, there's a lot more things.
A lot more opportunity.
A lot more opportunity. At the time, it was just you fight and you just fight kind of for fun type thing. And so, with that being said, my dad would fight, and then it's just that at that weight division who's returning and who's the top dog of that division. So the Morenos were a big name, along with the Ayalas, of course Leja, like they were all just big names. And so my dad ended up defeating he was a world champion, Danny Little Red Lopez. Mm-hmm. That was his name. He was Where
was he from?
I couldn't tell you. I want to say Mexico, maybe.
He was known.
And
he came over here. They set it up.
Yeah, so they set it up. So they met at the Nationals, National Golden Gloves, and my dad stopped him. I believe my dad beat him, which was his name is alone. Danny Little Red Lopez was a big name, so it's just you got if you fought him, you must have been really good, especially if you beat him and stopped him. Yeah, and so
and I'm. Man, like me just barely moving here, like I don't know, San Antonio, you know what I mean? I came from Houston, you know what I mean? So I'm not familiar, so no disrespect.
No,
but I'm sure, people locally here know, you know what I mean? I was still learning the culture and things like that. So then your dad beat this guy, and then...
So he beat that guy. That was kind of like the big, like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And so... He made his name for himself on that one. And so when he went into the professionals, he started... getting more knockouts, and my dad was a lighter weight. I'm the heavy fighter in my family, and so my dad was in the low 120s. My uncle was like in 108, 118 in between there, and so for them to be knockout artists at that weight division it says a lot. There's a lot of power behind those punches, and people want to watch that. So they were the big shows. So whenever I try to fight, that's why I try to be the show, the fight of the night. I want to be that artist in the ring, because they would always bring a show. Like they had people throwing money inside the ring, throwing for my dad. Yeah. They'll throw like roses in the ring after the fight, all that. So it was just expected to be. You wanted to see a Moreno fight.
You have expectations. These standards now. Yeah.
So it was something that was like, man, like the stories that you hear about it. It's just you wouldn't believe it until you lived through that. Yeah. And so there's a photo that in 1971 Golden Gloves, that stadium looks like it's a Super Bowl. Yeah. And this is amateurs we're talking about. Is
that the tattoo that you have on your shoulder?
So the tattoo I have on my shoulder is an actual real action shot of my dad.
Yeah. I remember you showed me that back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's an actual that actual opposing. Yeah. So that's something that I just held on to that picture. And that was kind of like the motivation. Like, man, I want people to remember me like this. Yeah. So it's just like that, but creating a legacy of my own, not just kind of like piggybacking onto him, kind of like. So
people in San Antonio know you guys, and like just the name and everything.
So the name Moreno is remembered. Yeah. It's just been a little forgotten about.
Yeah. So then your dad reached what was his reaching point, or he stopped when he stopped, or.
So I want to say my dad's professional record was. I want to say 37 and maybe 7 losses. 37 wins, 7 losses. Yeah. He had a lot of knockouts in his record career. Don't quote me on it, because I know it's been a while since I looked back at his history. But my brother knows a lot. My brother knows it like a history book. So but for the most part, my dad had a really good, outstanding career. The only thing is that something that my dad would always tell me is like, don't live for the moment, live to see beyond that. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of got trapped in the moment when he was younger, and he kind of liked to party. When you start making a name for yourself. My dad became famous. He was on national television by his senior year, and because he was already a professional fighter, so teachers would pass him. He didn't have to worry about school. It just how like they say back in the day, if you were a good football player, the teachers would just push you through. Yeah. That's how it was for him, because he was a professional fighter on TV at such a young age. So.
But do you think he kind of stopped because he just stopped, or did he get beat, or?
No, it wasn't. My dad never really took defeat as like a loss. He took it more as like a lesson. Yeah, like what he could have done better. Yeah. And the only thing is that the party life, it kind of does consume you. Yeah. And so my dad just did like to be out and have his fun, and so it did have a little bit of a toll on his career. Yeah.
And then you guys came along. So so how did you guys get into it then with all that?
So, like I said, me and my brother are the first fighters in the Moreno family to bring the Moreno name back into the ring.
Yeah.
Since the 1970s, 1980s, and so
when did you start?
I had my very first. We always stayed training. It was about, I think it was about like 2000. We always been training. So growing up, my dad.
What did he do? What did he do to introduce you?
You know, we always knew about boxing. He was never like, you need to fight. You need to fight. You're gonna train. He always taught us when we were at home. But I remember I was
just
a kid.
Just for self-defense.
Exactly. Yeah. Self-defense training is some as a Moreno, you want to know how to do that because it's in your name. It's in your blood. Like that's how it goes.
You learned about him too as you grew up. There.
Oh yeah, he learned about him at the fights and this and that. My dad was a coach.
Well, that's right. Well, he probably took y'all, right?
Yeah. He took us all the time just to go watch and like spectate. And so I was about maybe 12 years old when I was at a Golden Glove tournament, and it was at the Shriners Institution. I don't know what it's called. It's like a big stadium that they host fights at now.
Here
in town. Yeah, it's a Shriners Club or something like that. And I remember I was there, and I was just watching all these people win and get jackets and stuff. And I was like, man, you know what, Dad? That's what I want to do. I want to fight.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, give me 2 months of training, like solid training. And I was young. I was a kid. I was doing different sports, and I was just in and out. And then I was always like, all right, man, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so, sure enough, I trained for about 2 months, and then my dad set up a fight. And so I ended up fighting that fight. And so...
Did you win?
I did, yeah. The kid...
What was it, knockout or just...
So it was just decision. I was 12 years old. My dad just told me come out swinging and just don't stop until you hear the bell. And so, sure enough, you'll see in the video that we have, my mom has, somewhere in Lost Tapes, but you see me, the bell rings, I sprint from one corner to the other, and I keep that kid in the corner just wah. This dude, bell to bell, I don't remember not swinging. Yeah. I just remember seeing like lights and hands, and so it was just a funny thing. But yeah, so at 12 years old is when it started my actual fighting career. And then from 12 up until 2014 is when I had an off and on always thing, because in high school you want to try different sports and you want to try different activities, and so you get caught up, and it's really hard to keep that focused. Yeah. And so I noticed whenever I was focused 100% on boxing, I was successful.
Yeah.
There's never really a home gym for me. It was just with my dad. And then
I guess when did it start getting more serious? Like after high school, or
so working with my dad.
You're how old right now?
I'm 27 right now.
27. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so this was what that you were kind of deciding, or you still had the thought of boxing still, or you said you had a focus.
So growing up, it was just boxing was something that I just wanted to do. I just got an itch for it, and then I was like, all right, I want to fight. Let me focus for a little bit, and I'll get a few fights out the way, and then boom, fall off again.
Yeah.
And then it just, once a boxer, always a boxer. Once you fight one time, you're just going to always want to hit a bag, do this, do that. So you just get that itch, like you want to fight. And then just, unfortunately, for some people, you get too far off. You just can't make your way back.
Yeah.
Because being a boxer is you have to have that mental discipline, and you're disciplined for yourself outside as well. And so I just didn't really have that. My dad wasn't very strict. Like, you have to be in the gym. It was more like you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So my dad let me do everything I wanted to do.
But were you winning? Were you going on and off with fights throughout that time?
Yes.
And you were winning them?
I was winning, yeah. I went as from my first fight up until fight number 7, I stayed undefeated.
Yeah.
And then it's funny because the kid I was supposed to fight on my first fight, he was like 6-0. And then he had a twin brother in the same weight division. They got the names mixed up, and I fought the more experienced brother, who had 7 fights undefeated. Yeah. And so, and I ended up whooping him, so it worked out. So my dad was just like, you know what, I need to work with my kids more, and so it was just something that I started to take more serious here and there. And later towards, I think 2014 is when I actually took it serious. Yeah. And I was like, you know what. My brother was getting ready for...
He was fighting too. It was just between you two.
So my brother started fighting at 21.
So he got a little bit later?
My brother got a late start.
He's still doing well.
Yeah. He was pretty good. He's pretty good himself. He's a smaller weight division. He's going to fight. He as a professional, he's probably going to fight 108. In between light. There. Yeah, he's very light. He's a fast kid, yeah. But, so 2014 comes around. My brother's getting ready for the Golden Gloves. I was off. I was just...
With the Golden Gloves, how does that work? I mean, that anybody could just go to that, or you have to earn your way up to that?
So technically, they have the regionals. As long as you're licensed, and you have your corner man, which is your coach. You can have anybody in your corner. Yeah. As long as they're certified, you can be in your corner. Yeah. You can literally sign up that day and like just put yourself in the tournament and fight.
Fight, cool.
And that's how it goes. And so so some people actually do that. I had a buddy of mine named Patrick. He did that, and we were at the tournament. We were at the tournament, and he told my dad, "Hey, I don't have a coach. I've been training in my garage. Like, can you work my corner?" He was like, "Yeah." And so sure enough, my dad worked in. Boom, he knocked out everybody in that tournament.
Really? So it's a whole day tournament or a week tournament?
It's a week tournament.
Nice.
So it starts on a Monday, ends on a Sunday, I believe.
Yeah.
Depending on how many men are in your division, you'll fight either
brackets
later in the week, earlier. If you got to fight every day, which in 2014, my brother was fighting, and I was just like, you know what, like I want to fight. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people in my weight division. The only thing was that my last fight was at 123 pounds. I had taken a break from boxing. I just started working out. I wanted to be the big buff guy in high school. And so I ended up shooting up to like 150 just with bulking and lifting weights. And so the next weight division was 152. And so I was like, I don't know if I should jump this weight class. This is a whole like 3 weight class, so I'm scared. And so I ended up calling up a buddy of mine who's still in the boxing community. He works with a guy named Jairo Castañeda and Kendo Castañeda. They're pretty big names in boxing. Big here too. Yeah, they work with the Lejas as well. And so I called Ronnie, and I'm like, hey Ronnie, like I've never fought at this weight division, but what do you think I should do? And Ronnie, I think I was at Cowboys Dance Hall at the time when I was getting ready. No, that's what they were going to host the event at. And so I called him. I was like, you know what, they're doing the sign up thing here, and I just want to see like do you think I should do it? Do you think I should just take it? He's like, you know, man, if you feel comfortable and you're not worried, then just go for it, because it doesn't hurt to try it. And I was like, okay. So sure enough, I trained for a week. Monday through Sunday, I worked out with my brother. My brother jogged behind me. He was pushing me because I wanted to stop. I was like, dude, I haven't trained in months, almost a year. And so, sure enough, I trained for a week. I ended up taking out everybody in that division. I fought Monday through Friday, took Saturday off. The 52 division, I got.
But you're usually fighting lower
at 123.
Yeah,
and so I started stopping people in the first round, second round. I started getting TKOs. My very first fight, I was just at 152. I had a stoppage, so it was a big difference, because I've been so used to fighting at 123.
So how far did you make it out in the Golden Gloves that time?
So at the time, I was novice, meaning I had 12 fights or less.
You put it in. Oh, okay.
So it was. They
put you in that category. So there's different categories. Of
so it's novice and open, and that's the two different categories they have. Yeah. Anything novice, it was just a different. It's still a tough game to fight. Yeah. But at the time, there was like so many men in my division. I fought Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Had Saturday off. How far did you get up? I won the whole thing.
You won the whole thing?
I won my first jacket at 152 at the novice division.
So when do you think you made your name then? Was it there?
So I think at that tournament in 2014 is when they were like, people were able to see like, okay, well, Moreno's son is actually a good novice fighter. Let's see what he does in the opening. And so the following year, 2015, I came out and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take it again. And the open division. So I came out again and I took the open division in 2015. So I won 2014 novice, 2015 open, and without losing. I just went all the way through. Yeah. I think in my amateur career, I think the most I ever went losing within 1 year was fighting consistently. I've only lost twice in 1 year, and that's the most I've ever lost. Other than that, it's been years apart that I've lost.
Had you had any sponsors come at you, like any big names, like Oscar De La Hoya or anything like that?
No, it's whenever you kind of.
How does that work?
Well, I think the bigger companies like that, they look within like the USA boxing team, because those are the big names that they want to see that's the talent of the
USA talent. Like what, like the Olympic,
like Olympic Training Center area. Because there's people who are ranked, and with that being said, so I won the Golden Gloves regionals 4 times, and then I went to state twice, lost at state once, and then went to the nationals once.
That's good, man.
And then
how'd you do at nationals?
So the guy I fought was they had different seats. So seat 1 meaning like it's just like you're closer to being ranked as that number 1, and so the guy I fought was first seat. So he was destined to do some type of big damage in that division. So he was from Washington D.C. and I ended up coming up short in that division, and I ended up losing. But at the same time, he ended up coming in second in that tournament, and that was so many men that they fought. So if
You're up there, man.
If it was ranking, I would have ranked number 4.
Yeah.
If that was ranked, but you know, I didn't have a home gym prior to that, so I was just hopping from gym to gym, training where I could and when I could.
And this was in 15.
This was in 2015, 16, and I believe in 2017 I was training by myself, and I ended up something that it's kind of good to. It makes me feel good because if I had the right guidance, if I had the tools I needed, and the right people in my corner, I think I could have made it further.
Yeah.
But training by myself from gym to gym.
What happened in that time in between? Like so, what with like maybe your dad? Or
so what happened between there is my dad randomly. My dad's always been a coach. He's always been fit physically.
Yeah.
Capable of doing anything. He was just he was just the head of the house. You know, he was working nonstop. If his car broke down at work, he lives far from the house, and he would walk home in his stainless steel toe boots, like just walk home like that. And he wouldn't ask for help or nothing. That's just my dad's a 50s baby, and so he's
I can do it.
I can do it myself. Yeah. And so my dad gets home. And this is out of the ordinary, but he's sitting on the couch and just like relaxing in his work clothes. And we're like, this is weird. My dad normally showers afterward.
Yeah.
And he's just like, that's how he is. Like, he's just a clean person. And so I'm like, you okay? And he's like, yeah, no, I just didn't feel good. And I was like, oh, okay, which is weird. He doesn't admit being sick ever.
Yeah.
And so, then it was odd. My sister's an RN, and they just take his vitals, and they're like, well, let's just take you and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So my dad ends up, they were like, well, sir, you suffered a heart attack while you're at work.
Well, he was walking or something,
So something, he had it at work, and then he was still undergoing like heart attacks. Like, so they were like, you're currently going through a heart attack right now. And so my dad was just like, oh, I didn't know that. And so it was just weird because we would expect it from somebody else,
Say something.
It's just
or somebody else. Yeah, not him.
Yeah, out of all people, not him. Like he's healthy. Yeah. So he ends up having a heart attack, and
what
then
did they say the reason was? Stress, or I don't know what, or just age?
They didn't really have any other than just I guess just possibly eating. I mean, even at that. Yeah. And so
so y'all take him to the hospital, and then what happened?
Take him to the hospital. He has an immediate triple bypass. And so after that, my dad comes out of his surgery, but something's a bit off. Something's a bit off, and it's just like we can't pinpoint what it is, but we can tell something's wrong. And they're like, well, he's been in the ICU for this long. It's ICU psychosis. So my dad just wasn't having the best memory. And my dad was very forgetful, but after this surgery, it was weird. It was just like, it wasn't him. Like, it wasn't my dad. And so we would try that conversation. He was good, but he wouldn't speak the way he normally would. And so, like, my dad knows I don't know Spanish. And my dad would talk to me in Spanish. And I'm like, oh, Dad, like, I don't speak Spanish. He was like, yeah, oh, my bad. Like, I didn't even hear myself transition to Spanish. And so...
just off little things here and there, yeah. So he just kind of, like, it's retired all that stuff.
It was like somebody hit the light switch.
Yeah.
And so
he used to kind of just relax more and stuff.
And that was when we started, us as family, like me, my 2 sisters, and my brother, we started to see that my dad wasn't so much of himself anymore. And we had dealt with my grandma. We took care of my grandma. Not dealt with, but we took care of my grandmother. Yeah. She had Alzheimer's. And we took care of her for about 12 years, I believe. And then she finally passed on. But we were able to see the gradual, like, kind of, like, breakdown of her mental stability. And so a lot of the symptoms that we saw from my dad was something like that.
And hereditary or something like that.
Exactly. And so what they say is that my dad has Boxer's dementia.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. So many hits to the head.
Exactly. And then back in the day, just like the football players, they didn't have the best protection back then.
And just or even just they didn't care to do stuff.
Exactly.
They're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So from
like Muhammad Ali too, right?
Exactly. Like that. Yeah. He got Parkinson's and all that. Yeah.
Aye, man.
So all those hits to the head.
You ever worry about that?
I do. I do. That's why you say hit and don't get hit. You gotta stay moving. Yeah. The defense at all times. And then I'm in this career for I'm here to make a name for myself quick. Yeah. I'm not in here to get. I'm not going to be a punching bag. I'm going to do what I can in this world of boxing and then get out and then just.
That's why I brought you, man, because I know you're winning. Every time I talk to you, it's like, what's up, man? I got to fight. Yeah, I'm like, and then I'm at work, and then I'm like, hey, tonight's Josh's fight. I'm like, oh shit, man, I'm working. Did he win? Yeah, he won. I'm like, fuck. man.
Yeah,
I need to bring him in, man.
it's that word, man.
Yeah, I know you're on the up, man. So, and I want to get your story, out there. And so, what happened after this? So you're training by yourself now, and then so your dad's chill. He's still okay,
so
though, right?
my
He's okay.
At the time when I'm getting ranked, my dad was still recovering from his surgery.
Yeah.
So my dad wasn't really himself. He couldn't work with me no more.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm taking my dad with me to different gyms, but he's just sitting there and kind of watching me.
Yeah.
He's just like, just that it's good to have him there at the gym because now like it's putting my mind like this is what I'm doing and like I want him to see me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was nice having my dad there. And so
did you pick up anybody else to train you though or no?
Just my coaches that were here and there, but they're so busy, and then some of them from like there's a guy.
Training though, man. I mean, what? There's somebody else better than you out there. I mean, you're somebody that
one thing that I always told myself is the only person better than me is the person who I am tomorrow. Like
so
there's always somebody out there, but at the same time, as long as you're working at what you're working at, like you're gonna be better than whoever it is out there.
But I mean, so a coach though, you need somebody though, man.
Exactly, the guidance is what I needed.
Yeah,
I didn't have that. All I had was people who were supportive and allowing me to use their facility and like who's giving me mid work. So I jumped around from like Hector Tanajada Senior. I would jump around from Luis Bermea, who's also a coach from Mexico, but he comes here.
They live here or they visit.
Hector Tanajada, he's here. He's from here, or he trains out of San Antonio, Texas. But his dad was very helpful with me because we would go back to the Tony Ayala's on Zamora West Side Street, and so that was like a OG gym. Like you got top dogs out there. And so when we were there, I got trained, I got worked with people, but at the same time, I ended up getting ranked number 7 in the nation. And
how'd you get that ranking?
I just fought every day at the
without nobody training you still. You didn't have any.
Yeah. So when I got to the tournament, I had like 4 different guys come work with me, come work my corner. I want to say it was I think it was the Josh and Bam Franco. Their dad was working with Hector Tanajada at the time, so them two were in my corner, and I had a guy named Andy Pastran. He was there. And then a guy named Midman Joe. There were guys that all pulled together just to kind of have my back, and it felt good. Yeah, it felt good, and I knew I had the confidence. Like I was like, I know I got strong men in my corner, and they all know my dad, and they have respect for my dad. So that's how I felt good. Like my dad was in the stands watching, spectating, and he was still good at the time, be able to kind of give me advice, do this, do that. Now my dad kind of can't so much speak on like giving advice and doing that. So it sucks seeing that. But at the same time,
he's still alive though.
He's still alive. He's good. Yeah, we take care of him. It's just he's not who everybody remembered him as. But he's my dad. And so I know how to watch him, how to talk for him. I know what means what and this and that. So it just comes with it. But at the end of the day, he's still I still see him as like a great fighter. I would never want to test my dad ever. Yeah. And so. So I ended up getting ranked number 7, and that was just like a big accomplishment for me. Because I'm like, man, I had nobody. Like,
what were you doing to get to that 7? Like, what you were going through more fights? So
we were fighting nonstop. There was like 3 elimination rounds.
Where here or just again?
That was in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
So everybody from all over the world flies out to those. It was like the Eastern qualifiers.
Who hosts these things?
So USA Boxing, I believe, hosts them, and then they
choose different cities, or what?
So they have different cities. So it's like this is the midpoint to all these areas. So all these areas, everybody meets there to fight, and then for this side of the town, like Western, Eastern, like they just have different tournaments to where they can get everybody in the tournament. So where they narrow it down to the best 10, 12 fighters in that division. And then everybody meets, and that's in the finals.
That's nationally that one place.
This tournament is national.
Oh, okay, so not just regionally. So like East or West or anything. Like
no, it's just if let's say I didn't win over here at the Western, I can buy a flight. If I lost over here, I can go all the way to the next one. So that if I lose at the Western, I can go to the Eastern, and I can go fight at those. So it's just a big.
So you went through this tournament, and you won all.
So no, I went to that tournament, and I ended up winning about I think I fought 5 times. I won all 5 times. Yeah, and ended up losing in the last elimination round. And so that fighter ended up winning and winning and winning. So he carried me So he ended up being ranked number 3, carrying my name to rank number 7.
Yeah.
And the only rankings they do is top 10.
Did you barely lose to him or what?
Yeah, it was a tough fight. Yeah, it was a tough fight. And then that guy, his name's Josniel Castro. He's one of my best friends. He's like a boxing brother. He's professional too. And so,
like, you thought about moving or transitioning somewhere else? Or?
You know, I thought about moving when I had no guidance. You know, I thought about moving, but then I met my coach Tony Luna in 2019. I was in 2018, 2019. I was on a bad path. I was just kind of like, whatever. I had got arrested. I was on probation, and so my mind was everywhere. But at the same time, I knew boxing was fun. Like I wanted to do that, but it was just.
What do you think kind of veered you off a little bit?
Honestly, I was a newly bartender. So
I remember. Yeah, that's how I met you.
Yeah, so bartending kind of got me mixed in with the wrong crowd. All my friends started going to strip clubs after hours, and there's all these different parties after hours and different
How'd you
bars.
overcome that, man?
It was
this is the stuff that we want, that I like to have, and how did you overcome those small little things that you could say no to,
after seeing just because there's been times to where I've seen some bad things. Just working late nights, you come across different things. There's times there was this past year, for instance, I was driving home from work at because I get out, we close the bar at 2 a.m. And so
you guys still got to kind of.
We still got to close, yeah.
So it's good because I always tell my friends or my girl, whatever. Give it some time, because my buddy, he was also a police officer here. He says the prime time for accidents and all that is from 2 to 3 a.m.
And you would think that
take your time.
Because you get all the drunk drivers going at the same time.
All at the same time.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when I'm going back home, it's like cars flip. And oh man, I could have been the one next to them or something, But so you said that you were leaving, or you seen some stuff?
No, yeah. So I was leaving, and it was late night, like almost 3:45 in the morning. I'm driving home, and I see a motorcycle crash on the side of the highway, and I'm like, oh.
You saw it happen, or you just say, I was already there?
I saw the bike, and then I slowed down because I don't know what's going on, So sure enough, I pull up like a few feet more, and there's a dead body on the road. Oh, and so I get out.
No one saw? No one saw?
There was nobody there, so. Apparently,
you're the one that was going through.
Yeah, so there was like a lady there, and she was like trying to flag people down with her phone light, and I was like, no, she's gonna get hit, so let me get out my car, block the highway, and I started using my flashlight, get the cops out there, and I'm just like, man, I used to ride my motorcycle, and there used to be times where I would be cruising, and people would just don't see you, and it's not always your fault on the bike. It could be other people too. So you just got to be concerned. And so this is I take little things like that into consideration. I'm like, man, that could be the end of my career. One rear turn, or I hit loose gravel, boom, I'm wiped out. That's it. And so my coach knows motorcycles. My coach used to ride them all the time. And so it's just he would tell me, you want to be you want to be a liability. Do you want to be somebody that could have been something good, or things like that. You don't want to be that, man, I could have done this, or I could have done that. Y'all don't want to do that, because tomorrow's not promised, And so that's exactly how, there's times where I'm at the bar and I'm working and people want to buy me shots. But I'm like,
all the time, bro. That's the same with me. I developed ulcers, man, and I'm just like, you know what? I can't drink no more. I'll throw up or this, and it burns myself. I'm like, you know what? It's for the better, bro. It's for the better, man. And and then I'm trying to get fit, and then I get a personal trainer, and he's like, no alcohol. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut it. And I'm like, it's like an addiction, though, And I'm like, thankfully, I haven't got into any accidents or anything like that, but I mean, things happen for good reasons. Everything always happens for good reasons.
Yeah, there's not one thing other than putting alcohol in a cut that's good for you. Consuming alcohol doesn't really.
Everybody says it's a slow killing poison, man.
Yeah,
but I mean, you have to do. I mean, when I go out to these bars, you see people and they're just overly drunk. I'm like, man, alcohol, if you're gonna do it, it's to relax and chill.
Exactly.
1 or 2 drinks, not 5 shots in 1 hour, man.
Bartending. Bartending. I've been bartending for a long time, so I see people coming in looking nice,
and then, the end of the night,
And by the end of the night, they're carried out. I've seen people pass out in the bar. I'm like, man, how do y'all do this on a weekly basis? They're just I'm like, first of all, your money's going to trash. There's people who cash their check, give it to me. So I'm like, bro, that's how it's going. So, I mean, when it comes down to, actually staying disciplined in that area, it's just, what's more important, something that my mom always says is that there's, the bar's always going to be there. Mm-hmm. The same crowd's always going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
no matter what, if you want to start drinking later in age, it's going to be there, no matter what. In my career, my youth, that's not going to be there.
So did you change your friends, or what you said that? So you got on probation, man. What did you get in trouble for? Or is it's too personal?
No. I could get back onto that because like it can happen to anybody. So I was bartending. It was one of my first few like actual shifts, like bartending with like like my friends, and we were taking shots at work. At the end of the night, I start like I'm still early to the bar life, and so I'm talking like fast bar because there's bartending at like a restaurant, bartending at an actual bar, and bartending at a club. Mm-hmm. The nightlife with like a club and an actual bar, those are when like it's like
wild stuff.
Now it's wild stuff.
Yeah, because compared
now
to
you
like
can like get
Andretti's or some little restaurant, it's just calm. Yeah. So you were in the fast life.
So I was in the fast life. I was like, exactly. I got taken out of the cruise control, and I was speeding this time. Now it's like make your money with the speed you work at, and so. We were just drinking a little bit, and then I ended up going home. And so, sure enough, I'm at a red light, and I mean, by the grace of God, the light turned green. My foot stayed on the brake, and I fell asleep at the red light. I fell asleep at the red light.
Yeah.
And so, I don't even think twice. I hear somebody hit my window. I had my Jeep at the time.
What? Somebody saw you or what?
So I'm assuming somebody must have pulled up behind me or something because the light was green. Somebody knocks on my window, and I immediately get mad. Like they hit my window with like something hard.
Yeah.
And so I roll down my window and I just snap. I'm like don't touch my window like that. And so sure enough, they freak out and they try to pull me out the car, and I get aggressive because I don't know who it is. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I woke up and I'm like in panic mode.
Yeah.
And it was a cop. And so they get me out the car, and so. They take me in. At the time, I was just unaware of what was going on.
Yeah.
And so they give me the sobriety test, take me in, book me. I get out like the next day, late at night. So I spent my day off in jail.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it was like.
When was this? How long ago was that?
This was right before I met Michael. So it was like honestly 2017. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and so just like I would just get in trouble, man. Like I would get into like side road rage little fights here and there, like just fights at bars or this and that. And so,
what do you think the reason was behind that? Why'd you change, or what caused all this?
Like
you think maybe it was your dad, or maybe it was something, or just you think bad influences, and it's just
I look back at it and I'm just like every time I think about my dad's illness, like drinking. I would take a shot. It was like, was
anybody in your family into alcohol?
No, not that.
Just putting yourself in that situation and the people who you hang around with and who you work with in the environment, it just kind of puts you in that mode.
I think the setting I put myself in at the time was allowing me to fuel off of that. It's just this is easier. Like when I'm drunk, I'm happy, I'm good. Like I don't gotta worry about nothing.
You up,
exactly,
yeah.
Like
influences.
So like this, I felt like a celebrity of the night, like because everyone was having a good time,
bro.
Yeah.
Shit,
and so it felt good.
Big baller, bro. Man.
And so it was just something to do, man. It was.
You still held your ranking at that time, 7.
So the ranking is constantly getting updated.
Oh yeah.
So after the year, you kind of get wiped off, and so. At the time, I was just like, you know what? I don't really need boxing. It was just I'll do it again later.
Yeah. So then you started transitioning to this party life.
Yeah. So the party life kind of took over.
Yeah.
And so that's when.
How long did that last for?
The party life?
Yeah, last 17 to.
I said 17 to about like maybe early 19.
2019.
Yeah. 2019 is when I
woke you up, man.
Well,
that crash. You said that was that crash, or
so what happened was that. So I didn't even crash. I just stayed parked.
But that guy in the motorcycle.
So what happened was a buddy of mine. This was like that peak where I was like, you know what, my life needs to change.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy. It was just supposed to be like, hey, let's go take a shot at 2 different bars and then go home, call it a night. We ended up getting really drunk, me and my best friend. And last thing I remember is that we were speeding down the road.
So something else.
Speeding down the road, yeah. And then next thing I know, and then dude, I was just like on a reckless kind of path.
Lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going through it. And so, sure enough, we're cruising, and then I don't know how, just I go in and out. Like I thought I was in control the whole time, Next thing you know, I just remember screaming oh shit. And so I remember the car being in the air, slamming down, hitting like this, hearing screeching, shattered windows, banging around, like my body was limp.
You were drunk?
I was
you were pretty lit, yeah.
No, I wasn't even, I was gone.
Yeah.
And so, the car, the car ends up hitting a building and I just, my car's done.
Man.
So I wake up.
Buddy though?
I was with my buddy. I remember waking up and like my body was still shaking. Like all airbags are deployed, all windows are shattered.
Yeah.
Cars going like not even on. And then my buddy slumped over and I shake him. I'm like, yo, wake up. And so he's not moving. So I push my door open, fall down, and get around.
The car was still up? Like the car was still up?
The car was still up.
Yeah, you guys weren't upside down at the end.
I tried to pry open the door on his side, but it was like caved in completely. So I ended up getting my foot, opening it up, pulling him out, and he was okay. He was just out of it. And so,
damn, bro, if you would have passed away, you were the driver, right?
I was the driver, yeah. So,
and what it would be like,
manslaughter or something?
Manslaughter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And my best friend, like, dude, that would have been I don't even know. Like, it's just that was the point in which. Yeah, no, that was the point in which I was like, you know what, like, I'm not only putting myself at risk, I'm putting other people at risk. Even at that, like, I'm putting other people's lives in jeopardy when I get behind the wheel and like that. And so I'm just like, you know what, I can't do this no more. And so, time goes by and then like I'm still recovering. And so I just tell myself I want to get back in the gym.
Yeah.
And so I just start training on my own again, just doing my own thing. And then my brother comes around and he's like, hey, you should come train at this gym with me. It's a nice gym. And I'm like, nah.
How was your brother doing during that time? What was he up to?
So my brother was just fighting. My brother's still fighting, training, working, kind of just doing his thing. My brother's not really a party person.
Yeah.
My brother kind of stays home, just homebody.
So you're 27. He's younger?
My brother's 31.
Oh, he's older, yeah.
Yeah, my brother's older than me.
Yeah.
And he's more like disciplined. He don't need the party life. Like it's not for him. He likes to have a good time, but he doesn't need a club to have a good time. He's just chill. So
casual, yeah.
And so he's when he's on the ball to get in the gym, he'll make sure he's on it.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be loyal with it. But yeah, sure enough, my brother introduces me to my coach Tony Luna, who he is my head coach now.
And this guy Tony Luna, who is this guy?
So his family was also in the era with my dad, and they were really known in the boxing community as well. His brother is Robert Luna, and he used to call him Nighthawk. He was a professional back in the day, and he's fought a lot of big names too.
Yeah,
like professionals that are out now, and he had a good work with him. And so my coach trained his brother when his dad was no longer able to. So me and my coach kind of gone through the same thing, the same with our dads, and so he understands what I go through, and he can relate to what I've been through and how I go through things now. And so my coach, he has a big resume behind him. The only thing is that his boxing career was never able to be fulfilled as an athlete because he was always a trainer. But my coach is educated. Like my coach has like knowledge from back in the day.
Yeah, so you have a good corner now.
Exactly. So everything that my dad would once say, I know my coach would say the same thing. So that's why I trust my trainer completely.
So this was what 2019. You made a change in your life.
Like early 2019.
After that accident, that's what really got you.
That's what really made me. That's what really made me.
So your advice to anybody out there, man, what after all that, those 2-3 years of you partying, what would you give people advice on, man? Obviously not to drink, man. I mean, maybe do a chill or just watch how you drink. I mean,
for sure, man. Lives are taken nonstop with alcohol. Like, that's a given, So like, if it's not cirrhosis to the liver, it's just bad decisions when drinking. So I mean, the one thing that I would advise anybody else is like the same thing that my mom tells me all the time. Like, don't live for the moment. Like, the party life is always gonna be there. The party life is always gonna be there, no matter what you do. So even if you have a somewhat of a good time tonight, you can have another good time tomorrow. It's always gonna be there. It's the same thing, the same crowd, the same people all the time. So do something productive with yourself now, and then you can relax later. Like just like people say, work hard now to relax later. Just like
reap the benefits later.
Exactly. If something like don't let alcohol consume your priorities, man. Like it's a waste of time to do things like that because like I hear all the time, I got work tomorrow, but I'm out here drinking. Like,
bro, I see it all.
You're not gonna be able to work the best you can
We
tomorrow.
work
Like, yeah.
I know. I'm like, man, after that Bad Bunny concert, it's like, who's got work tomorrow?
Yeah.
On a Wednesday, right there at 2 a.m, like, yeah, fuck work, and then I'm like, yeah, man, fuck that.
That's priorities, man. I think it's just like just your priorities. That's what you gotta figure out what your priorities are, and you have to stand on them, and you have to be sure to not lie to yourself and just kind of follow through with it. Because if I have training at 5 a.m. in the morning, you better believe I'm going to be in bed getting my rest.
You already know how it feels.
Yeah.
So after that, what was it that clicked in your head, and what were you starting to set your goals up for after all that, or like what really got you to set it, like, or what were you thinking, man? Like, all right, I need to start doing this, that, and start getting in.
That's where my trainer came in place, and my trainer.
So your brother, right? Your brother had brought you back around.
My brother brought me in, and I remember the first day he took me. He was like, "Come train with us," and I was like, "All right, cool." So we went to Palo Alto College over on the south side, and they were training at the pool, and they were just doing drills in the water. And I'm like, "Oh, well, this is cool. You know, it's a different type of workout."
Speed.
Yeah. So he does so we get in the water, we doing drills, and then moving around, and he has these little weights in the water, and so I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then we start doing laps. And then me, I'm very competitive at anything I do. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the best at it, the worst at it. I'm gonna try to be the best. I'm very competitive. So we're doing laps, and I'm just going, no. I'm a good swimmer, so I'm beating them, and I'm like doing good. And then by the time I'm like, dude, I'm about to throw up. Like, I'm about to throw up. I can't do this. And so I told my coach, I was like, hey, or he wasn't my coach at the time, but I was like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to the restroom. Dude, I remember going to that restroom just throwing up. And so 30 minutes goes by. You
hadn't done anything prior, like cardio?
Nothing. I know those feelings. I didn't believe in cardio. I figured I was just good. Like, I could get away with raw talent. And so my brother comes. He's like, hey, where'd Josh go? Like, where'd he go? He's like, he's in the restroom. And so my brother comes in. Dude, I'm passed out on the floor, like, in the shower, just dead. And I was like, I can't. Like, man, I'm not conditioned. Sure enough, I start training with Tony at the gym, and so he tells me, he's like, "Hey, look, like, I know you have a good background in boxing, and because as an amateur, I only had 9 losses, and I had over 97 fights, and I only had good, man. And so it was pretty confident for me, like, it was a big confidence booster, and so when did you decide to, or how did you transition up, and man, to professional, or when did you? So when I started training with Tony, Tony's words to me was like, "Hey, all this party life, all that, gotta go. It's gotta go." Yeah. So I think it was like
this was prior COVID too, right? Because you said it was up until 19, right? So it was just right about COVID stuff. Yeah. So 2019 is when I met my coach, and then I was getting off probation in 2019. So October hit, and then my break to go. I was good. Chains off. I'm good. I was free. So my coach was like, "We're not having none of that. Like all that party life. Like that's gone, dude. Like." I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to do nothing. Like I don't want none of that. And then if you're going to be in the gym, like, I'm going to be the one lining this up for you. If you're missing days in the gym, I'm not fighting you. He's like, because if I don't feel like I did my job, or I was able to do my job with you, then we're not doing that. Yeah. And then my coach is on top of it. He checks my weight. He makes sure I'm in the gym. He'll double check on me, like, send me your runs. Where did you run? The route you ran, how many miles, how many minutes. So you found him almost like as a mentor too. So yeah. So definitely was a mentor. He laid down the gavel of like the law, like this is what it's gonna be if you want to be a champion. He said, I can make you a champion. You just got to follow through with what I say. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on having a mentor, man? And for other people out there, because people like to do it by themselves, like you were doing it by yourself. But what do you think the importance is of a mentor, and how do you think you could find them, and how do you think or suggest to anybody listening, like, where do you find these mentors? Because a lot of people are scared and they're like, I don't know. It's really hard because it's just like. A lot of people are successful and they have their time tied up. Exactly. Like, how do you find these people that already have done it? You know what I mean? But because there's some people that you could trust them and you can put your faith into them. But then at the end of the day, like, there's some people that can be a little shady and a little bit of a snake and do you wrong. So I'm not gonna say I can't say that you're not gonna run into a few bad apples. Yeah. But at the same time, when you finally get to where you're working towards, like. It will just find you. You'll find it. Yeah. Everybody has a home. Everybody has a home. You'll find your home. I guess the lesson in that is just go after your goal, and the people will be there. Yeah, you'll find the same type of person. It's okay to accept help. Basically, it's okay to guidance for help. Exactly. Yeah.
and you'll never know what doors open up. So I always make conversation with everybody that I talk to because communication is key. So like if you communicate with them, maybe you don't want to trust them to train with you, right?
Do you pay him too or no?
Because we were working together. Now we're a team.
Yeah, but before
so
you had
before, yes, I had a payment.
You know, there's that saying. You know, the worst advice is free advice.
Yes.
You know, and it's that saying. Don't ask a friend on maybe financial advice if they're a carpenter or something.
Yeah.
Like you don't do that. That's free advice, man. And people are being cheap a lot of the times. And, I could just do something. With this for just asking for freely. But the point is that sometimes you have to pay for the premium.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta pay, and you learn things with, and the worst advice is free advice. So after this, so you guys started training, and so now you started getting some fights under. So after 19, how long were you training in 2019 with this guy, and then up until when did you guys start having your first fights?
So we stayed training nonstop, and then again with him, 2019, I won the Golden Gloves. So my last time fighting was 2016. I fought the open division Golden Gloves again, and I lost to a guy named Jimmy Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, that's when I was doing partying and training.
Where was he from? Here?
He was from San Antonio. Yeah. I believe he's a police officer now, so he didn't really get to follow through. But And so so the last time I fought, I was like, you know what, I lost. I'm just gonna stop till I'm done partying. Partied, and then found my coach, and then I stayed training. And then we came back in 2019. I won again the Golden Gloves, and then training.
What weight?
152. Yeah. Because dude, I won.
Well, you're thin, man. I mean, I think you have good genetics. I think you kind of maintain that because I've stayed the same damn weight, man. You know, I'm in 150s to 60s, man.
See, I was partying hard, so I was like, you know what? I need to be in the gym
somewhere.
You were
drinking like beer. I mean, all the time. I'm sure it was liquor. I mean,
it was liquor and beer. I was just partying, eating, doing the late night bites. I was doing everything. So I was that was my favorite go-to. So definitely. I ended up. I was like trying to do more aesthetics. Yeah, so I thought boxing was it for me. I was like, I guess I'll come back to it when I got a chance. Obviously, I didn't know I was gonna run to my coach, and he was gonna kind of lay the law out and be like, "This is what we got to do." But I met him. I was like pushing 180, 190. And I was just a big body, just swinging. Bro. And so
180, you talking about weight, bro?
Weight,
180, you were 180?
I was 180, 190.
Yeah, bro.
Wait, how tall are you, bro?
Huh?
How tall are you?
5'10".
Damn, bro, 180, dude. Was that fat or muscle?
I was really big, man. I was working out nonstop. I was just working out like trying to build aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be like the next Rock or something. Yeah, next John Cena, something like that. So I was really trying to work towards that.
Dude, that was during the time you were partying, though.
During the time I was partying,
so you slimmed down then in 19.
I slimmed, my 18, coach, 19, So when I met my coach in 2019, he was like, hey, like, if you're gonna fight, you're gonna fight at 152. We're coming back down. Yeah. He's like, so whatever weightlifting you're doing, just stop that completely.
I used to wrestle, man. I knew the weight things. Joy, you need to drop 10 pounds by Friday. I'm like, dude, it's Monday.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I do that? And I don't know, figure it out. I'm like, shit, bro. I had to put on what was it? Trash bags.
Oh,
with the heater on and sweats. Yeah. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I dropped 5 pounds. And I'm like, damn, bro. And I'm like, I'm thirsty. Like, you can't drink water. Yep, I'm like, fuck.
It absorbs it quick, man.
I'm like, well, how else do I drop weight, man? Take a shit, take a piss, spit into. I remember chewing gum, spitting. Dude, there would be guys with a gallon of spit. And they would drop 2-3 pounds when I was
works,
I'm like, dude.
There's little strategies like that,
And I'm like, well, what do I'm like, coach, well, what the hell do I eat? They're like, dude, rice cakes or very little water because, dude, you have to maintain it. I was like in the 50s and I would drop more 40s and I'd have to drop to 130, or 25. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm dying. And after you get your weigh-in, they're like, oh, you're over by like 5 ounces. They're like, take off your underwear. I'm like, oh,
that's another 2 ounces right
there. I'm like, or something. And I'm like, oh, and there's like a whole bunch of dudes, man. I'm like, oh, man, okay. And you make weight and then you're like, you can go eat. But then I'm like, I didn't want to eat after because I was like, I'm about to go 100%. I'm going to throw up, dude.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to eat.
But that must have been a lot, man. But I remember those days of cutting weight, man. I did not like it, bro. So then you won the Golden Gloves and then what happens after? I mean, COVID hit somewhere at one point, right? I know it kind of paused.
So so what happened was I went to state and I won state in 2019, and so I was like the best. I guess, the best shape that I had been in my career at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I have a good trainer. He's working with me with everything I'm doing. I'm dieting right. I'm making weight. I'm winning my fights.
Yeah.
And so, I won the whole tournament here in San Antonio. Then I go fight at state. Mm-hmm. Win that state tournament. Fighting the same thing as many times as I
You're pro now.
And now I'm pro.
So you're still amateur at that point.
I was still amateur at this point.
Okay. And then
I go to nationals, and that's where I lost to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And so I come back, but at this time, 2019, I was like, you know what? Nothing but positive moves here. Mm-hmm. I went back to college.
Focused.
I went back to college, started boxing. I was on scholarship at UTSA for a cheerleading scholarship.
Well, that's right.
So,
yeah.
So I was doing that, also boxing, and then 2020 comes around, and then I'm doing college cheer, college boxing, and still trying to manage a team outside of that. Mm-hmm. And so,
a lot.
So I was doing a lot, but at the same time, that's when I was doing good. It was still good, but it was very distracted. Little one foot in, one foot out.
Yeah.
I was always that person. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I just like to do a lot of things at once. I like to stay busy, and so we go, and then I win regionals, right? And then they give you maybe a little bit of time, and then they're like, "Get ready, because we're about to ship you out to state." And so I'm like, "Okay, cool." So UTSA goes to a conference, and the cheer team goes because it's when all the basketball teams meet, and they just have a tournament, and they just play. And then so when we're out there, I'm like, man, I can't wait to go fight. The only thing is that we're out here on this little trip for the conference, but I can't eat because I gotta stay in shape because I gotta fight coming up as soon as we get back. Mm-hmm. And so that's it. And then sure enough, the conference gets shut down, and we're like, wow, what happened? They're like, somebody had COVID one time. Oh, wow. They're like, no, there's an outbreak. When we get back home, everything's shut down.
Yeah, I remember.
So it was weird. Yeah, so they shut down school. They shut down everything. It was so weird. You know
what I thought? I took it serious when the NBA says we're canceling all the games. I'm like, what? Canceling? What the hell? Yeah, I remember.
People were literally playing at the conference, and they just shut everything down. Everybody out the building, done. And so I was like, what? It was weird just to kind of live through that pandemic shutdown. And so when we got back, everybody was just shut down. Mm-hmm. Our cheer competition at the end of the year that we were supposed to go to Daytona Beach got shut down. Mm-hmm. The Golden Glove tournament got shut down. Everything was going to get postponed. Mm-hmm. And so, just
wait and see what happens. Yeah.
I get back.
You get back.
So I get back, and then I'm doing school online. My coach is like, hey, well, we got to stay active. My coach sets up an online thing. Yeah. And so he's doing FaceTime with me, training me on over FaceTime. And, I lose motivation. I'm just like, this is nothing to me. Everybody. And so, I was just like, you know what? I can't do this. I'm just going to wait till the gyms open back up, and then I'll be serious about boxing. So the pandemic, everybody found a hobby.
So I found a hobby of eating.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's what I found. I found food, games, everything, dude. I became a big-time gamer, just little projects here and there. And so, I just played basketball, and then everything was just, I had to come up with something to do because I'm an active person. Yeah. And so then, just recently, it come in was what's Thanksgiving? When's Thanksgiving? What month is that? Thanksgiving?
November.
Is it November?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In November.
But
everything started opening back up 2020-ish or so.
Yeah.
Spotty right throughout 2020. Mm-hmm. But, so
I think it was September, me and my coach have a talk. Mm-hmm. And this is the time I'm riding my motorcycle, just kind of having fun, living wild. And then my coach is like, hey man, if you want to turn pro, you got to be serious about this. Yeah. He's like, I've lost a lot of friends riding motorcycles.
My buddy, he was on a motorcycle and his mom took it away after 2 months after he had his first accident.
So or
after 3 months, she's like, nope. He had a bad one, man, and she's like, I'm taking it away.
Yeah, seriously, that's and then my coach knows, he knows, it's not always you. You can be like, oh, I'll be safe, I'm not gonna go crazy, but dude, there was times I'll be riding and there was a close one, Mm-hmm. I'm going maybe 90, almost 100, and then I'd get a little tweak, hit a little rock or something, almost lose control, and I'm like, ooh, that was a good one.
My brother had told me something. He went to defensive driving for a ticket, man, and he told me, he's like, I learned some shit. And he's like, riding on a motorcycle, your chances of dying increase by 3,000 or 1,000% already. just getting on
Just
the
getting
bike.
on it.
Yeah, just getting on it. I mean, we already have chances with vehicles, you know.
Exactly.
Like you hit, you already there, but your chances of dying now go up 1,000%. Man.
Dude,
I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Imagine people get scared to get in a car crash. Imagine being on a bike, dude. It's
You're risky.
Yeah, you're done.
risking for everything. You're risking more with the bike, yeah.
Yeah, so my coach tells me, he's just like, hey, like, how serious are you about this? Like, like me and my coach have a heart to heart. You know, we talk, and dude, this late night at the gym, nobody's there. It's just me and my other head coach, Coach Javier, and it's us three talking. And my coach is like, if you want to do this, if you want to be serious about boxing, if you want to turn professional, show me that you're willing to make sacrifices. And I was like, dude, I just got my bike. What do you mean, like, make a sacrifice? Like, I love my bike. Like, this is like, dude, I loved it. Like, it would be cold in December. I'd be riding that thing. I didn't care. I just loved zooming on that bike. Like, it's just a different feeling. My brother always rode. My cousins always rode. Just, I never knew what it was like until I got there. And so, when that was going on, just my coach told me, make a sacrifice. Your career is about making sacrifices for your future. Yeah. So, like, will you make that sacrifice? And I was like, dude, all right, well, I'm meant to be a professional boxer. I'm not meant to be mediocre. I'm not meant to. I know there's something. I know there's something bigger than that I'm meant for. I know that I didn't waste like my life not finishing college or not doing this, not doing that. Like, I know I'm meant for more. I'm meant for greatness. You know, like I'm meant to be somebody, to be remembered. So that's what I work towards. And so
hopefully the podcast help, and you putting your message out here and everything. Enforce that. You know what I mean?
Every opportunity has a door, man.
Yeah,
I just gotta take it. So I talked to my coach. I'm like, all right, man, let's do it. And he's like, so you'll sell your bike? And I'm like, yeah, I'll sell my bike. I'll sell it. And he's like, all right. And he's like, well, when? Yeah. And I just take my key, and I'm like, here, take it. Yeah. And so I give my coach my key. We go to my house, and then because like I told him, I was like, well, can I bring it tomorrow? And he's like, I don't want you to bring it tomorrow. If you're going to give it up, you need to give it up now, because you could tell me you're going to give it to me tomorrow, and then you go on one last ride tonight, and that's the last ride of your life. And so I'm like, oh man, dude, I didn't even know it was going to be my last ride if I didn't know I would have rode like for fun or something. And so he just, he goes to my house. My coach knows how to ride. My coach probably used to race bikes back in the day. He knows everything about bikes. He's built them, destroyed them, crashed them, rode them, raced them, everything. And so, I just see it. I do. That night I cried, bro. I cried. I was like, my bike, man. Like, I loved it. And so he pulls up to my house. He has a conversation with my mom. Like we talked, and he's gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna get rid of it for him so we can do that.
Got some money though, right?
And I got money, man. The only thing was that bike. I was like, And so my coach, I just see him drive off on it, and then after that, the bike was history. We sold it, and then we started taking my boxing career more serious, and then we started transitioning to training, not so much as amateur. Started working more as a pro, and then my diet was that's come November. I was like, Thanksgiving. I was like, all right, man, it's Thanksgiving. If I can make it through this Thanksgiving without cheating on my diet, I can do this, and I can make the weight.
What were you weighing at that?
At that time, I was coming down from like 175. I was coming down to 147. Yeah. And so
what weight were you shooting for? 25s again, 30s or no?
So no, 47 was the goal. So I was just coming down. I was just dieting. Right, my fight was scheduled for March 3rd. Yeah. And that was going to be my professional debut. And so. It was with the Moreno's boxing team. That he was hosting that. He's a boxing promotions, and so I was just like, you know what? I want to come out looking like a professional. Yeah. I want to look. This is your first pro fight. This is me. I want to look good. I want to make a name for myself coming out loud, and so I just stayed on my diet, and I made sure that I did everything right. I dieted for. Were you
training during the pandemic?
I was training. Right? We trained. It was just very limited. We trained. Dude, we were training like. Imagine you're breathing heavy. We trained with a mask. Yeah. We were training with masks. We were training in the heat. Like it was training limited times. Like there was you come in from this time to this time because then there's gonna be more people coming in from this time to this time. Yeah. And so my coach worked around. My coach was like so like firm on training that on the hitch of his truck he had something made. So he had like something soldered, and you can hang the bags off the back of his truck. And so we were at parks training, and then we're training outside public parks, and then I'll go run a lap And then he's like, hit the bag, and boom, boom, boom. We had everything set up. Everything we needed, he brought it.
Yeah.
No matter what it was, he would do mitt work with a mask, and then disinfect it onto the necks, and then he just had everything set up. No matter what it was, he made it work. And so
you had your first pro fight where here in San Antonio?
I had my first pro fight at the Scottish Rite Theater.
Yeah.
On March 3rd, and I was fighting. Don't remember his name, but you know he tried to come for me. He was like,
where was he from?
He was from, I think he was from San Antonio as well.
He had a good record.
It was his
starting tour.
He had already fought. I think he was like 0-3. He was like, I already lost. Yeah, but
it's a good entry point.
He was 0-2. I think is what it was. But he was definitely had the height on me. He had the arm length.
Yeah.
He was a Hispanic guy. They just had a lot to say, you know. Like in my first profile, they were trying to intimidate me, saying they were gonna knock me out, help me up, like this and that. And so at the press conference, his first words was just like, his coach was like, "We're gonna knock this cheerleader out," and then none of that fazed me, man. Like I was like, you know, this cheerleader is beating a lot of people up, and so you're just gonna be one of the ones I have to take out. And so, you know, I came out to the ring, and I was like, all right, like that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So first round, just come out swinging, boom, 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 power shots. And so keep in mind, I hadn't fought in years.
Yeah.
Because it's 2020, and I'm making my pro debut at 2022. So I hadn't fought in over a year, and so I was just knocking out those jitters and that anxiety of like wanting to get it over with, like because I want to fight already. It was just everything kind of came into play. I had the best support. I had a lot of sponsors, and then like my fans came out, man. We purchased out that building. My pro debut, I was co-main event. Like that's how much tickets I was able to kind of produce. I was able to bring a crowd that they wanted to push me in the later fights because my crowd was pretty heavy. And so March 3rd was when I got my first knockout victory. And so I took him out in the second round. He didn't come out of that corner, not wanting to go any further in the rounds. They called it. And then sure enough, you know, I had to kind of stay on the ball. We just stayed training. And then sure enough, we got this fight that happened this past weekend.
So you're now 2-0?
No, I'm 2-0. Yeah, 2-0 with one knockout.
That's good.
And
so now how promotions and who's getting you better fights and how can you get up there? Are you going to be making money? How can you get up there, man?
So I'm assuming necessarily not assuming, but I mean all my plan is to do as the athlete I am. My plan is just to stay ready. Because let's say, I mean, hypothetically speaking, let's say they're like, "Hey, you're fighting Canelo tomorrow." I want to be ready. I don't want to give an excuse like, "Oh, wait. Can you wait till next week?"
Yeah. What about the Olympics? Isn't that coming up here?
So Olympics is more kind of out of question for me. They have it. I'm sure they're having that. It's just the Olympics was something that I looked back when I was an amateur. That was something that I wanted to do. Professional is where I'm at now. Yeah, that's my mindset. Becoming a world champion as a professional fighter right now.
And then from there, how does the process with that go?
The process with that is just in its time itself. You know, just kind of being. I just want to be an outstanding fighter, so people can see me. Yeah. Once they see me, they will really see me and give me more opportunities to do bigger and better fights. Yeah. Right now, all I'm doing is just being the fighter I am. Being just remarkable and being somebody that they're like, man, I want to watch that kid fight. I want to be that person that they would talk about my dad. Like there was a bus driver who would stop the bus when taking kids home from school to stop outside the gym to watch my dad spar. And then the kids would be like, let's go. And the guy with the bus driver would be like, nah, I'm going to watch him spar and then we can go. And so I want to be that person that people just walk past and they're like, I'm going to finish watching this before I go.
So when's your next fight here coming up? Today's September 14th, just so y'all know on the audio recording. But when's your next fight coming up, or who sets that up for you?
So my coach normally gives the green light on those things. Yeah. So far, one of the promoters that my coach is speaking with is scheduled for November 12th. So
the next one.
Yeah.
You don't know who it is yet.
Don't know who it is yet. I just know that. I mean, I always told my coach, I was like, I'll fight anybody. You just give the green light. That's all I need. Yeah. I know this last guy I fought, it was like it was questionable. They were just not too sure if I should or shouldn't. Because I was jumping up a weight class. Because I fought at 147. This past fight, I fought at 153. But I know where I stand, and I know that I can give a fight to whoever and whenever. Yeah. So
somebody that you want to fight?
Nobody that I want to fight. I just want to fight. That's really it. That's really all it is. I just want to fight.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I'm fighting, I'm happy, man. Like it's just a different high, a different feeling. You know, it's just like it keeps you like hungry, and then it's like, man, if I did that, imagine what I could do next time, next time, and then it just makes you want to do more. And then it's just the friends you make, and then like the more fan base it reaches. Because like I went out to the fight and I saw everybody wearing my shirt. It's really cool. Like they're wearing my spawn, like my logo on their shirt. And then I go out to, like, let's say the gym, and I see some random person wearing my shirt, and I was like, "Hey, you went to my fight? That's my shirt." Yeah, no, I need to get you one. I need to get you one for sure.
I was gonna say, you should, I don't know if you want to throw a promo out there. I was just thinking about it. Maybe the first person to tag you, or whoever is the first person to hear this audio or podcast, man, whoever is the first person to follow you and tag you gets a shirt. I don't know if you want.
Yeah, no, I could. Yeah, for sure. I would be willing to do that as long as somebody. Yeah.
What's your handle?
I'm sorry?
What's your handle on Instagram, or where do you promote maybe on social media?
Well, my Instagram is Joshua Moreno 14. So when they tag me, just kind of give me a little notification that they listen on this.
Tag somebody else, follow.
Yeah, tag somebody else, and I'll get them a shirt. Yeah, I got a shirt. I'll have that shirt waiting, man. I'll give it myself.
I appreciate you promoting the hookah stuff too, man.
Oh yeah,
I've been posting you, man.
Oh yeah, I feel you. Yeah, no, for sure. I wanted to get that out there too, because I got that shirt. Man, that shirt you gave me was really nice.
Oh, the white one?
Yeah,
I know. It's
that's a nice fit too. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I gotta rebrand myself.
Yeah, is something you're working towards?
Alchemy is not anymore.
No.
So, but I definitely, I got a lot of improvement. Like I said, I haven't done these podcasts in 5 years, 6 years. But yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I sent you the link.
Yeah. So
about 4 or 5 episodes, but the whole purpose was, I want to get people's stories out there, and then people to hear it. Locals, Yeah. Because I can't get. I don't think I'm. Well, I probably can, but not until later. But I mean, I'm sure right now I'm not at the point where I could get like Elon Musk and all that. So, starting local. That's
with the time, man.
With the time, and it could be, but I want to start off with people that are local, that are going somewhere, that are doing big things, that you have the potential to get up there, and people will learn from your life lessons and what you always went through to overcome those things. I want people to just have something to listen to, some good content.
Yeah, no, and for sure I do like that, because I mean at the same time, like when I was younger, especially coming into my professional career, I reached out to a lot of like professional fighters that I looked up to, and I tried to get like some feedback from them, like, hey, like can you give me some advice on this? And some of them are very like responsive, and they'll be like, hey, well, let me give you some of this advice and this that. Like just like you said, free advice is the best advice.
No, it's the worst advice.
Oh, the worst advice.
No, I would say that and it's not always that case. You know what I mean? If someone, what I'm saying is that don't go cheap.
Oh yeah, okay.
You'd be willing to pay a premium because it's worth that, but even at that point, you could get scammed with certain things,
Oh, yeah.
Certain, those gurus online and program. What I'm saying is that, it's like going to school. I mean, you paid for that, and it's going to get you
like
a better job. It's something like that, yeah. And, sometimes, asking family, they're family, you love them, but sometimes it's not the right people to ask.
Exactly.
Like, my mom wouldn't know about investing. She didn't study that. Your dad knows about boxing, so that's what I'm saying. You want to go to the source, but sometimes if it's worth it, it's worth paying for a coach, or because I've noticed this is that when you pay for something, you value it more. But when it's free and it's super, it's like, let's just say somebody's work, like those coaches, a really good coach, and you ask for help, and it's like he's doing it for his own love and time, and he's doing all that for free, right? But then when you don't really value it, especially when you don't pay for something, you don't value it more. So people are just kind of like, oh, I don't know about today, I'll go later. But when you put $500 down, $1,000 into yourself, 2,000, 10, whatever, for your education or yourself or classes, you're gonna fucking you're gonna make sure you get what you get, what your money's worth. You're gonna put that effort. And I've always seen it that way.
Yeah, my coach always says that too. Like if you think about it, if he gives away 5 free sessions, like how many sessions are they really gonna go to if it's free?
Exactly. So that's why I always say the worst advice is free advice. Not always the case, but it's something to think about. Like, hey, sometimes offer somebody that is worth paying and say, hey, look, I'm gonna give you $100, $200. No, it's free. Look, I value this, but or hey, thank you for dedicating your time. Can you please show me more? Yeah, but you just got to be dedicated. Same thing, committed and stuff like that. But no, you're right.
No, definitely.
There's something that I ask all the time. Since I've been in college, and I would always ask when I was in this program, and they would always bring in business owners, man, and I would always ask them the same thing: what was your biggest failure or mistake in life, and what did you learn from it? Because people always hear the success, but to you, I want to ask you that. What do you think? Was it that one time that you made that mistake? Excuse me, like drinking and all that, and getting into that accident, but. Or is there something else in your life that, you made a mistake or failure that someone else could learn from, and what do you recommend to mitigate those things, or what did you learn?
I think just, in general, just throwing away my youth, just because,
So start early, you say?
Start early, yeah.
What would you recommend people to do to start early with?
Just as far as, if you have plans to do something, what are you doing right now to get to that goal?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're doing something that has nothing to do with productive steps into getting to that point, then you're wasting your time.
Do you set goals?
I set goals, short-term goals and long-term goals, and goals that I can fairly reach at the time.
You write them down, all that stuff?
Yeah, even the simplest thing, like for instance, one of my goals throughout every day is to make my bed. That's just something simple. Yeah. Once you get that ball rolling, it's like a snowball effect. You make it a thing. Yeah, dude. So because you're so used to doing that, just like you get up, you make your bed. That's one goal done, and then you can just start from there. What's the next thing on your list? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And then honestly, seeing a bed messed up, it kind of refrains you from getting back on that bed and messing it up.
Yeah.
So that stops you from being lazy.
I know the military do that.
So yeah, it's just little things that I'll just do, because I remember whenever I would get up for my 5 a.m. sessions, I would make my bed real quick, because if I see it, I'm like, man, that looks warm. I want to lay down. So I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave little booby traps for myself to get caught back in there.
Yeah.
But I say basically, what I'm trying to get to is just set work. Make sure whatever you're doing at the time, if you have a goal, do something to get to that goal. Just don't plan on tomorrow to do that. If you're gonna do something, do it now, and don't be like I was when I first started, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If you're gonna do it, be the best at what you're doing, and make sure you're doing 100% in. Because if you're going 75% there, 25% over here, and then another 1% here, something like that, it's just your focus is not where it is.
Yeah.
So
when you're winning, man, you're
exactly.
You're on the.
It's that tunnel vision. It's that tunnel vision. Man. That's literally what I got going on in my mind right now. Like every time when I'm not here, I left the gym today because I wanted to get here and I wanted to speak on behalf of what I feel. Because sometimes people don't know about my dad.
Yeah.
They see my dad and they're like, boxing legend so and so, but they don't know what we deal with when we get home.
Yeah.
They don't know that my dad doesn't know I'm his son. In my heart, sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I would have done this sooner, because if I had done this sooner, if I had been more focused early in my career, my dad could have, in his lucid mind, he would have seen his son become a professional. And so I know my dad sees me. I know he sees me, because even my mom said he has his good days. Yeah. And so when I walked up into the ring, he tapped her and he's like, that's my son. So he knew, he knows. I know when I see him again, in another life, we're gonna have this conversation and we're gonna look back at it and we're gonna be happy, Yeah. I know my dad will be proud of the things I've done and the things I'm gonna do and I'm currently doing. Yeah. So it's just, you don't waste time. That's literally the best thing I would say. If I could have started sooner, if I had the mindset I have now, back then, I would be further in my career than where I'm at now. But I'm gonna work with what I'm given, and I'm gonna make the best of it. And I'm like not. I don't know. There's no brakes in this car. I'm just going on gas, man. Yeah. And so
that's good, man.
This is basically it, dude.
I believe it. Yeah, I think I was listening to a podcast or a YouTube video, and the guy's he found a book, and it's the thing that we're so greedy with is money, but it's we're willing to go and party with other people and waste it on other things and do things with others, but then we're not greedy with our time. Yeah. You need to be greedy with your time. Us doing this, you coming out, you could have been doing something else, but we want to make it worth it. Now I'm putting my time into this so that, I want people to hear your failures and successes and, what you're doing, and maybe it might inspire somebody. Yeah. Who knows, man? You know what I mean? Because, I just try to help, and get it out there and do something that I was continuing a long time ago. See, I just gave up on it, and I was just like, nah, I got sidetracked. Yeah. And so, and I've been telling you, and I'm like, man, I know Josh is doing some big things, man. So, and you have a name behind
Yeah.
So a reputation. Also, I have right now here, man. This DJ right now. He's letting us host it all here, right? He allowed us to come to the studio. So right now, I don't know if we only have 2 mics, man. Man, you want to ask anything? You have anything maybe you want to say or put in?
I
or
mean,
something?
not
You
really.
want to get the mic?
Josh was going to say becoming one of the biggest inspirations. That's all I gotta say, really.
I appreciate
That's
you,
good,
man. Yeah, thank you, bro.
Yeah. Do you have any? I guess we'll kind of wind it down because I'm gonna have to head to social
Yeah,
media.
yeah.
I'm trying to see about getting Sergio next week, man.
Okay.
But do you actually have any books that you like to read, man, or podcasts you listen to, or that inspire you, or anything like that?
You know, I coming as far as like
A lot of people don't like to read though.
so that's one. I'm one of them. So I always used to laugh about it. Like I was like, man, the only time I would read was when I had to in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, college was the only time I was like, man, I gotta read, and I'll read. But you know, it's something that I guess after, like, I guess when I'm coming down to my nerves, because sometimes whenever I'm in training camp, like I'm just workout mode. Like I need something to wind down, like just to relax.
Mm-hmm.
I read that sometime, I had seen back then that reading 5 to 10 minutes a day is good for your mind.
Yeah.
So recently I kind of became more in touch with my faith, and so I started to go into church more, and it just kind of like I want a better relationship with where I was at before, because before I was living like whatever, just doing whatever.
Yeah.
And I just give thanks for that, so that I'm still alive to do what I want to do. And so before I go to bed, I'll read a little bit of my Bible.
Yeah.
I'll read for about 5 minutes. And I have trouble sleeping. I'm a bartender. I stay up all night, so I don't
We all know.
We naturally get sleepy at 4 or 5 a.m.
Couldn't go to bed till 7 this morning, man. I was thinking about what I was going to ask.
And you still got to be productive, so you got to wake up and do your thing.
I'm wasting time. I'm just like, man, I need to go to bed. I'm thinking too much.
Yeah.
So the Bible.
So I'll read a few of the Bible. When I first started, it was like not too long ago. I started page 1 of the Bible.
Yeah.
Just started reading. And it helps me get sleepy too. Like just reading kind of just makes you a little bit calm down. And so that's what I started doing. So if I read something that's like that, I more listen to people's testimonies, like Mike Tyson's testimony. I read a lot, I hear a lot, and then I just look at a lot of autobiographies. Yeah. I'm more like I'm a big movie person.
Yeah.
So I really like the production and all that. So I've basically seen every autobiography on Netflix, down to everybody. And so I do a lot of that. But if ever I'm doing reading, it's just to get more in touch with my faith and my relationship with God. Yeah. And so I'm reading the Bible at least 5 to 10 minutes a day, just to kind of help me get my mind right and just do like get a little bit more sleepy too. Like it just I don't sleep the best, but when I do, I sleep. Yeah. And so that's basically it as far as when I'm reading. But yeah, man, it's hard to read, but it gets easier. It's hard to read whenever you don't really have that focus. You can't focus. Yeah, because you
have a lot in my mind too, man.
Because you're reading, but you're thinking about something else, and so you're like, wait, what did I read? And so if you sit down, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna focus for a little bit. Turn your phone off. Just do not disturb, and then you can focus. You just have to isolate your mind. Because when I studied in college, I was able to focus. When I would isolate myself, and so I just think it's healthy for your mind to do that. That's the best thing that I would recommend doing.
And for any upcoming young boxers or fighters, because man, I know things are kind of changing up now. Everything's UFC now, man. You know what I mean? And I don't know. What do you think? Boxing is still? Do you think it's still? I mean, the people that are still kind of holding up, Mayweather, or I don't know any other prominent boxers. I mean, sometimes I just feel it's just for show. You know what I mean? Some of these things are not just for show. You know, I mean, don't mind you, they are good boxers, but it's just entertainment now.
Dude, it's crazy because the way things transition.
What's the word on that with the boxing world, man? You think?
Honestly, I just it's crazy to think it's just how things transition. Before it was, I mean, the time boxing stepped out of its comfort zone was when it was McGregor versus Mayweather. That was like the first thing that was like,
they tried
that's weird.
Yeah.
And then now it's these YouTubers versus TikTok and the celebrity fights, and I'm like, dude, like
it's kind of
they're treating boxing like it's a mockery. Like these guys are getting paid millions of dollars when there's people. I'm not even talking about myself. I'm talking about people like buddies of mine who have fought and won national tournaments and been ranked number one for years on end. Who have earned this, and they're getting paid bare minimum. Like all that clout and all that recognition needs to go to these fighters that have invested their life in that. And so it sucks that some of these boxers or the boxing community has. It's just what the people want, dude. Like, people get bored and they want to see something different. And so, but at the end of the day, I mean, boxing isn't what it used to be, but it is a big thing. Still, like, boxing is always going to be a big thing because it's just like that's something that's never going to die down. MMA is I just think I respect the art of MMA because I'm telling you right now, I couldn't kick to save my life. Like,
a lot of people transition, right? Like, there was some. There's people that transition from boxing to MMA, or
I think my last opponent,
MMA.
Keith Smith, he was an MMA fighter before he fought me.
Yeah. You've never thought about doing something like that? No, that's not your field.
That's not my thing. Yeah, I'm very classical. I like the old traditional boxing, just stand-up game, being light on the feet, like Muhammad Ali, you know, Manny Pacquiao. Like, those are all my.
I remember that when I was growing up, it was Oscar De La Hoya. Who else? There's a lot of the 90s, because I was born during the 90s, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighters back in the day.
And it was the huge thing. UFC was barely coming up, man, and then it just took over. But, yeah, man, I think, I'm just like, man, what happened to boxing, man, you know? And I'm just like, it's big, but, you know, like, just the respect for it, you know?
And they even got bare knuckle boxing now. That's crazy. That one's painful, man, but, I mean...
Do you have a YouTube channel and all that too, or no?
No, I just work off of my social media. So Instagram is my main.
What is it again?
Joshua Moreno 14.
Joshua Moreno 14.
Yes, sir.
So people can follow you and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, if anybody who's listening to this wants to like message me and just have any questions or anything, like, I'll give feedback. I'm the one who runs my Instagram page, so. I'm out there promoting myself. Any promotions you see, like, that's all me. And I'm out
all your fights.
It's hard work, man. It's really hard work. I look at it now and I'm like, man, I can't wait till I get to like 5'10", 5'15", fight 15, fight 10, like anywhere from there. Because like right now I manage ticket sales, shirt sales, promoting myself, finding sponsors, like, and then not only that, staying in shape, cutting my weight, eating right. Grocery shopping, meal prepping, like all that is me. Like my coach will literally send me a schedule every Sunday, what the game plan is for Monday through Sunday. And so as long as I'm able to work around that, not only that, make my work schedule work. There's like this past training camp, I got out of work at 4:45, went from work, working from 8 to about 4 in the morning, got out, went straight to the gym, trained from 5 to 7, then went home, slept, ate, relaxed, did everything I had to do. Had to be back at the gym at 5:30. Repeat the same thing all nonstop, dude. That was
you still bartending, right?
Still bartending. Yeah.
So and it's I know we get out like at 3:30, 4.
And that's why I'm just like, man. Once I get to the point where it's like,
maybe I can make that transition later. You know, you get you just make that transition.
It's all within time for sure. That's another short term goal that I'm working towards. So I don't have to worry about that. All I need to worry about is being in the gym. That's it.
Yeah.
And so that that's gonna come in time.
How do you get sponsored? Yeah, have you gotten good sponsors?
I've gotten pretty good sponsors. Yeah. You know, a lot of people.
Well, that's right, because you did ask me. I should. Yeah,
I've had sponsors from Rockport, Texas. It's Rockport, Texas. That's like Corpus Christi area.
You want to shout out any sponsors right now?
Yeah. I mean, I have 14 of them. I could shout them all out.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All right, well, I got the Vapor Vault out of Corpus Christi, Texas, Rockport, and then I got Who Dat. It's a bench warmers. It's like a sushi and like bar and grill.
They're all out of what here?
So the Who Dat and the Vapor Vault, they're from Rockport, Texas, and that one's a pretty good one. And then I got my coach Robert Luna. He has his own gym that he opened up.
Okay.
And that one's over there off of Marbach, I believe. And then I got that Kineo Photography over from Portland, Maine. That's another.
How'd you find all these guys out there?
So that guy at Kineo Photography, that's Durwood Ferland. He's the one that he was just a buddy of mine. That my friend that I had lost to when I got ranked number 7 we ended up making friends the next day after our fight at a Waffle House. And so we just been best friends ever since. And I fly out to Maine to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And he's a photographer. He has his own company. And so he just he was like, hey man, like I'll sponsor you. Like me and him are basically like brothers at this point.
Yeah.
And so and then I got personal health clothing. They're from the Strip as well. And then J Rod Photography. His name is Justin. He's a buddy of mine. His brother is actually an actor, and he was a cheerleader on Bring It On. His name's Jacinto, but his little brother, his younger brother, is one that got into collaboration with me from training in the gym back in the day. He's like, hey, do you have any flyers when I was an amateur that are trying to do like any videos or pictures? And he just did it pro bono. And so from that point on, I was like, you know what, like we're from the same roots, Hollandale High School on the south side. And so he's just been working with me ever since. Butron Escobedo, he's like more like a company. That's the one from Social Spot. His wife owns the taco truck.
Oh yeah,
on the right. So that's him. He does like yes, I think it might be that. It's the one on the far left, like after the turkey leg stand. I don't know.
They left. It's the little red one.
The little red one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So his wife, he's actually sponsoring me. He does like home. I think it's like home construction. He does like construction, like remodeling and stuff like that. So he jumped on the sponsor once he saw that. Yeah. In March, he was like, "Dude, I want to sponsor you."
You, man.
Yeah, because he didn't even know. There's a lot of people who didn't even know I was a fighter.
Yeah.
And so
I didn't know. I'm like, I'm scared. I'm scared of you, bro.
No, and then
I was like, you want to fight, bro? I give up, bro.
Nah, even Andres from Social Spot, he sponsored me with Playwright. So they sponsored me with Playwright. And then I got, obviously, Luna Box Facility. They make all my uniforms.
I'll sponsor you for the next one for sure, man.
Yeah, man.
I just want, because my name I had to, cut the business short on my end with that other one. But who else?
I got Nano's Kitchen. Nano's Kitchen is out of Portland, Maine as well. Funny way I met her is we were at a bar, and I just made conversation. Yeah. And then she ends up having, like, I think it's gluten-free, vegan. Yeah. She makes, like pastries and desserts and healthy foods and stuff. And so her business was just starting up, and she's like, you're trying to invest in yourself and your dream. So I'm because you're following your dream, I'm gonna sponsor you. Yeah. And now she opened up her kitchen. People respect that, man. She said that she doesn't meet a lot of people who chase their dreams. And the way I'm chasing my dreams, she's doing the same thing. She already opened up a kitchen of her own. And so she's got her own business running.
There's there's few people out there that are focused, man.
Yeah, I got JR Custom Kennels. He's the second time sponsor. He sponsored me twice already on my last fight, and so did Nanos. That he basically makes. He's an entrepreneur too. Yeah. He got a home entertainment center, turned it into a dog cage and a entertainment center. So like if you look online, he makes custom homemade kennels. Yeah. So it could be like a bookshelf that has a dog cage infused with it, basically like merged together. Yeah, and it's pretty cool, man. And then my buddy Mike, he's a firefighter at a station. I couldn't tell you the station exactly, but he's a firefighter here in San Antonio. And Rubio's Taqueria, that one's on the south side. That's a buddy of mine, Jonathan. Nova Aesthetics, that's one. I think it's over there by Castle Hills. They do a lot of different facials and things for face treatment. Yeah. Just, it's all aesthetics. And then that's pretty much it, man. I got all those sponsors just by communicating verbally and introducing myself and making sure every time I get sponsored by them, I make them feel the gratitude.
And they're not big sponsors. It's not like it's a big requirement. So if anybody wants to sponsor you, man, just reach out to you?
Yeah, just reach out to me. Anybody looking to get, because
any help is appreciated.
Yeah, anybody who's with me now, that's not something because people make that joke, like, don't forget me when you're big time. Yeah. Like, I'm never going to forget my roots.
That's why, bro, I see it with you too, man. I know you're on the up, man, so that's why I wanted to pull you in here, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I can see big things coming out of you, any help would help, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you, hopefully can share this and people can hear your story and, maybe you can, bring something about this good, you know what I mean? Sponsorships or coaches, anybody these people can, it's just all local love, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And is there anything else you want to share, man?
Other than the fact that I mean, there's a lot more to my story. I'm just not one to like kind of go off about it. You know, there's a lot of people, just like everybody else, got problems. Like, I mean, I deal with it too, but at the same time, we just go through with it.
Yeah,
you
you have to get too personal. No, I mean, it's just the lessons.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So anybody who has questions or needs me to kind of talk to them about something, I'm not somebody.
Is there anything else you want to share, man? You can share, bro.
No. I just want people to be able to know that I'm somebody to talk to, because I mean, just like the way I look at people back in the day, I was like, man, I want to have a conversation with them, like this and that. Whether it was somebody like for instance, I had a local profiler that I looked up to, and I was like, man, I want to talk to them about something. Like, I didn't know if I could talk to them or not. Yeah. So I don't want people out here thinking that I don't want them thinking like that. If they have a question, if they want to talk to me about something, I'm more than welcome to talk. So that's something that I just want people to know, that I'm open to any conversations. Just I'm a very respectful person. My dad raised me right, and so that's all it is, man. Just I'm a humble person ready to talk. So like it is what it is, you know. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming out, man. And right now, I appreciate you, man, allowing the studio, bro. If y'all want to check out right now, he's at Social Spot with Dave. Where are you at? Just your whole we get the money. Where are you at during the week, man? If y'all want to see right there.
Yes, real quick. Thursday, Social Spot 8 o'clock. Friday, Spoilers 10 o'clock. Saturday, Social Spot 10 o'clock. Sunday, Thursday, Aztec by the Riverwalk 1 to 5.
Cool. There you go. Yeah. So, guys, I appreciate y'all, doing this. And then if y'all want to follow, I'll put the links up. I need to update some things on my end because I haven't updated in a while, but it's the Maven Minds. I'm on Apple Podcasts and then SoundCloud, and I'm going to try to get myself on Spotify. So I'll be trying to do some updates. But if y'all are interested in doing something, anybody that listens to this, man, just hit me up, man. I'm open to putting people out here and locals, and like I said, I started off in Houston myself, and then I did the mobile hookah, and I'm just trying to open up a hookah lounge out here. I came to San Antonio, and so I mean, podcasting was something I was doing before I did all this. You know what I mean? So if anybody wants to reach out to me, let me know. Get your story out there, something inspirational. I'm down for it. Just let me know. Next episode, I think I'm going to have Sergio from Social Spot. So I know he's big in the community, and I know he's doing big things. He's, owner of Social Spot and Espuelas and who knows what else, But just something, just to keep people, knowing what's going on and things like that. But I appreciate you guys listening. It's been a good podcast. Thanks for coming in, Josh.
Oh yeah, no, thank you.
Good luck with your career, man, and your boxing, matches and things like that. And man, we wish you the best, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for coming out, man.
For sure, man.
Thanks.